Well, hello there everybody, welcome to the video. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This is a hugely requested video. I'm also going to be doing a guitar collection video for 2018, probably later this week, hopefully on Saturday that'll be up. And essentially what I wanted to do here was I'm just going to play through, this is pretty much all the amps that I own, and you'll get to hear them with different guitars. It's not really like a comparison video, I'm not trying to compare these amps. I think each one has its own unique sound. So I am using different guitars. You'll hear pretty much the same reverb on everything, which is the Hall of Fame. And it's all going into my 2-Notes Torpedo Live, which is a Revv 4x12 closed back cabinet. And at the end of the video, if you want to skip to it, I'll put the timestamp here if you want to. I actually go through exactly how I'm recording all this stuff, if you are interested in that side of it. But, you know, I'm just going to play, talk, and then play the amp again, and just kind of do that through all of them. So hopefully you enjoy a long, nerdy video, and yo, let's just go ahead and get to it. So first amp up on the line is the Marshall. So this is the actually one of Marshall's newer amps, and it's balancing right on top of the Friedman right now, making me all kinds of nervous because it keeps rocking back and forth. So this is the Marshall Origin 50. So it's a 50-watt amp. Like I said before, I'm not in here gonna like in-depth demo anything. I just think it has a great sound. To me, it's kind of like a one-trick pony, but it just does that exact older sounding Marshall sound that I wanted, you know. So to me, it nailed it. These are compared to the other amps, you know, much more affordable. I think that they you know, surprisingly, they take pedals really, really well. Now I am running it in 50-watt mode right now, and I have the volume at around like 11 o'clock. So it's pretty high up there. But luckily with the 2-Notes, I can do that. So this is the Marshall Origin. I have the boost pulled out, so I just think that it's a great sounding amp, and, you know, just rocking the Les Paul for it. We switched guitars, switched amps. We are into the Friedman B50 Deluxe. This is the newest amp that I got this year. It was originally just a loaner, and I loved it so much I had to keep it. It out Marshalls the Marshall. just being honest. It's the Marshall sound you want, but you know, like a normal Marshall, you have to kind of like do all these extra things to it to get it there. This one just kind of has all the tricks in it. So it sounds, I mean, I shouldn't say it's like better than a Marshall. The Friedman sounds like a Friedman at the end of the day. I think that they've done a good job of basing it off of this Marshall-ish sound and just kind of doing their own thing. So I'm just going to run into the BE side. That's my favorite side of the amp. So you can either run it in clean, BE, or HB, but the BE side is my personal favorite. Alright, this video is turning out to be way more of a workout. I'm unplugging all this stuff and plugging the different ones in than what I had anticipated. So next, we're into the Rev Generator 740. Now, my favorite side or channel, whatever you want to call it, of this amp is the green channel. It's actually one of my favorite channels of any amp anywhere, and I'm using my Acacia Cronus, which does have Fishman pickups, which are active, so they're a little bit hotter. But yeah, I love this side of the amp so much. I love all of these amps. I love everything about each amp. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten them. But This is just my favorite side of this particular one. Next, we have, I'm rocking the Vola Guitar, which is loaded with bare knuckles. I believe this is a mule. This guitar's not actually mine, I'm just borrowing it. It's just a rad guitar, and I'm playing it through the orange Revv 50 Mark III. This is my favorite orange amp of all the orange amps I've ever played. The Revv was the one that really made me like orange. I was like, oh, I like that sound a lot. And it has built-in reverb and all that kind of stuff in it. And yo, let's just kind of go. I have it on full power mode. Volume cranked like halfway, like most of the amps. I find that I like a 40 to 50 watt amp, and if you have that volume around half, to me that's just like the sweet spot for most of these amps. So yeah, so this is the orange Revv Mark III 50 Revv orange. So the next one is, of course, the orange Brent Hines, which is over here, which, you know, it's one of those that was a surprise favorite of mine. My buddy Henning recommended this amp to me. He's like, I really think you will like this amp. And I was like, well, I already have the Revv, you know, I don't really need another orange necessarily. And he's like, no, it's nothing like the, and it really is. It's crazy how different those two amps are. And I really, really dug it. And I think it just sounds fantastic. I don't use it nearly enough. But here it is. I'm just rocking my American Standard Telly with stock. I think they're Fat 50 pickups. And yo, that's just what you're hearing. Alright, so next we have made our way over to, you probably can't see it too well, I'm looking in the viewfinder right now, yeah you can't. It's white and the light is right on it, which this is the Revv MMus. It has such an amazing clean channel on it. I'm not going to show you the clean as I talk about it. And just this killer reverb inside of it. But the distorted channel is also just this really nice and fat sounding distortion. I think it's really interesting how different it sounds from the Rev Generator. So they're two very different amps. And so this is just it. You know, I'm using this Iconic Evolution, which does have EMG retroactive pickups in it. So a little bit different. But, you know, it's just a fantastic sounding amp. It just kind of sounds good with everything. Okay, so next is another, unfortunately, white-ish cream color amp, which is going to be hard to see. Don't worry, I'll have B-roll for you guys so you can see the amps up close. This is just the only place I could put this amp, so unfortunately, I tried to move the cameras around, and there's just no hope that you're going to be able to see this amp, because I can't shut that window. Now, this is the Joyo Deul Clons, and this is an incredibly versatile amp. It comes with an app that you can actually change the circuits. This is like real modeling essentially. So it's not like digital modeling. There's actually all these different circuits for different style of amps. Like I have it set to what they're calling the Jackman, which is like a Marshall. You know, it sounds great. All right, we are on the home stretch now. So right here, I'm running through my Black Widow audio, what's it called, MGP1A modeler. Now this is similar to the Joyo. These are all made here in the USA, and this sounds amazing. It's such a killer sounding preamp. You have a ton of tonal variety. Again, these are real circuits. This isn't digitally being created. Basically, when you switch through different models, you have like obviously like a Marshall, Fender, Boogie, Orange, all that kind of stuff on here. It looks kind of intense with all the knobs, but once you look at it, it's actually incredibly simple. But so what I have it on is the higher gain side of it, and it's a UK hot rod. So it's again not Marshall territory, but it sounds very, very thick and full sounding. It sounds great. And here we are, the final one. I waited to do the Axe-Fx last because I have to actually set this up completely different to use it versus all the amps. So this is my Axe-Fx 2 XL. I think they're on 3s, and they've had the XL Plus now and all these other, you know, reiterations of it. But this one to me is just fine and dandy. Now it's a preamp just like the Black Widow, so you do need a power amp if you want to use it with an amp cabinet and stuff like that. But what's cool about this one is that it also acts as an interface. So I don't need the 2 notes if I'm using my fractal, essentially. I need the 2 notes for everything else that way I don't need to mic it. But, so yeah, so this is just the Axe-Fx, and this one you'll hear a different reverb than the other ones. That's what's built inside of it. I almost forgot, I'm playing this is actually my personal one. This is my Vola Zenith, and this is just a patch that I made on the Axe-Fx like the first week that I got it, like 2 or 3 years ago, and it's the one I still use today. So the final thing I wanted to add here to this video is how exactly I'm recording all of this stuff. I get asked this a lot, and there's 2 main ways that I record things. If I am running, let me turn this on real quick. If I am running out of an amp, I'm going out of that amp into what's called the 2 Notes Torpedo Live. They have a 2 Note Studio. There's different load boxes and stuff out there. But essentially what this does is it is creating, it's simulating an amp and cabinet for me. So I don't have to mic it. If you're a person who needs to keep volume down, but you still want that big full sound, these things are such a game changer for you to have. So, you know, I can literally, like I said, I keep all my amps at basically half volume. And a 50-watt tube amp on half volume, it's so loud in a little room like this. So it really is, that is SKYPE. Let me mute that actually. And it's such a huge, huge thing to be able to have that control over the volume and tone. So that just goes, so whatever amp I'm using goes into my 2 Notes, just like you would plug it into an amp cabinet. And then my 2 Notes is actually going into my Scarlett 18i20 interface, and that goes from that into the computer, and that's how I record it. So it's actually, you know, very simple, and it's very easy to dial in really good tones. You could be late at night, I can have this big roaring, you know, Marshall sound or something like that, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, but in here it's whisper quiet. So that's a huge, huge thing. Now the other way that I record things is what I kind of hit on a little bit earlier, is if I'm going into my Axe-Fx, it actually does all that stuff inside of it digitally. So the 2 Notes is a digital amp and cabinet and microphone, but you're still using a real amp. Now the 2 Note, I'm getting all confused here. The Axe-Fx is digital everything, but it also is an interface. So when I plug into this, like when I was just recording, which I will stop now, I'm simply going into the Axe-Fx, and the Axe-Fx is going into the USB slot on my computer, and that's it. So it's one less step, but again, you're not getting the real tube amp, you're getting a digital simulation of it. So that's pretty much it, and just whatever guitar I'm using, you know? So I do not have I don't have a lot of like outboard gear to kind of tweak things with or anything like that. I use some plugins, but other than that, I mean, that's kind of it. It's real simple, you know? And then you can get into the mixing side of it, which that would be a whole nother video. But yeah, so that is really just how I'm recording it. So other than that, I'm going to hop on out of here, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. It was actually fun for me to hear all these amps at different times. I pretty much never do this because it's a lot of work, but it was still fun. So until next time, guys, you'll be seeing the guitar collection video very soon, and I will see you all later. Peace out, homies. Rock on.